So when bad things happen to people, we have to go in there, make sure everything is safe, and then we sit there and we have to determine, okay, was a crime committed?
Maybe there is no particular reason why or how, they just were victimized. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Many people just don't know. They don't know that there's kids aging out of foster care, for example, who have experienced incredible trauma and abuse, and they have very little support often.
Even with the constitutional amendment saying victims have these rights, they're not being respected by the criminal justice system. They're still being ignored.
Because I was in so much pain and so much fear, and I just felt like I couldn't live my life. I didn't know how.
Hello, my name is Ronnie, and I am this year's recipient of the Advocate Award. I started my work with STAR as a practicum student through UAA's psychology program in 2018 and joined the team as a full-time advocate later that same year. Today, I serve as STAR's lead direct service advocate. Over the years, I've received feedback from individuals I've worked with expressing how having a non-judgmental and external outlet to talk about their experiences with has helped them to not feel like they're burdening their friends and family with secondary trauma. Survivors deserve the reminder that being assaulted was not their fault, and this thing that happened to them does not define who they are.
We're really passionate about filling the gap for struggling children and families impacted by foster care or at risk.
As a community, we need to be aware of how victims are affected, sometimes the lifelong trauma, and I think that Victims for Justice is not only important in helping people recover from those traumas, but also educating the rest of us.
I think that advocacy and public policy, if it's enforced properly and recognized, is one of the most important things we can do to help victims. They need the services and they need a lot of other support as well, but if we change the entire culture of the criminal justice system to say victims matter, and they should have all the support and all of the rights protected that they have under the Constitution, as well as the rights that the criminal gets through the criminal justice process, the victim should also get.
I have limited time with somebody, and that impression of me to them has to be one that, oh, okay, she cares about me, she believes me, and she is going to do what she's going to do. I want, in my brief time with this person, I want them to trust and know that I'm going to do everything that I can for you, regardless of what that outcome's going to be.
When you're in crisis, you can't function very well. To fill out paperwork, to go to court, to make phone calls, to do all of these things that are just so hard when you're in pain. So I know firsthand what this organization does, and it's just huge for me in my life.
In my 6 years at STAR, I have learned that even small acts of effort, like using positive and person-first language and talking with and referring to our clients, can make a huge difference in establishing rapport and trust. Using words such as survivor as opposed to victim, and affording individuals the understanding that trauma can take many forms and present in many different ways can foster empowerment and help them to take back control.
We want to mitigate trauma at every level. So any person that calls or enters our space or shops in our boutique or utilizes our programs, we want to mitigate that trauma, reduce trauma, and really allow them to experience hope and healing.
Being collaboratory with the police department and all these other agencies that are out there specifically to help vulnerable people or people in need is so important.
So once I was able to sort of clear out and start healing again, I realized the biggest thing I wanted to do was help other people, because even though my life felt really fractured, I went through all that pain, I also gained this incredible amount of empathy that I didn't have before for other victims of a few different types of crimes at that point. And I knew that I felt like I could be a voice.
That is an area which I would love to see expanded, and like organizations get together to understand and try to come up with some sort of a cooperative effort to engage and educate the public on these issues, to focus on advocacy and education if we want to actually make a major change.
I think that's maybe the best thing that can happen for victims is that they have people that care about them and want to speak out against the crimes and seek justice for the victims. So that's a big change. And I think it's one of the positive things to see. So it's not all negative, but I think that there's a lot of work still to do.